Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We'll start in a few minutes. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much, and a very good afternoon to all delegates, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the side event, Mine Action for Sustainable Development. Um, this session is organized by the Royal Embassy of Cambodia, as well as the Cambodian Mine Action Authority, in collaboration with ESCAP and UNDP. We will begin our session with opening remarks from ESCAP, the ASEAN Secretariat, as well as the Cambodian Mine Action and Victim Assistance Authority. And this will be followed by a panel discussion and then closing remarks by His Excellency Senior Minister. So may I begin with welcome remarks from Her Excellency Ms. Armida Salcia Alisabana, Undersecretary General of the United Nations and Executive Secretary of ESCAP.
Excellency Mr. Lituch, Senior Minister and first Vice President of the Cambodian Mine Action and Victim Assistance Authority, Excellency Dr. Kao Kim Horn, Secretary General of ASEAN, that I understand that joining live via Zoom, Excellencies, colleagues, and friends. Very pleased to welcome you all to this side event on Mine Action for Sustainable Development. Mine Action and its contribution towards achieving SDGs is very often overlooked. So therefore, we will discuss at more length this very important priority issues and highlight the related challenges towards sustainable development, as well as the contributed solutions. Yeah, again, Cambodia is here. Likewise, Thailand is here. Yeah, that have ample expertise on this, and also how to relate that. Yeah, to the SDGs achievement. Mine Action is not only concerned with the destruction of explosive ordnance and victim assistance. It is much more. It is about reducing the socio-economic environmental impact of landmines and unexploded explosive ordnance by addressing a wide range of intervention in affected communities. So our current work with the Cambodian Mine Action and Victim Assistance Authority, led by His Excellency Senior Mr. Lituch, supports the royal government's efforts to develop a national policy for mine action that will further advocate the national strategy for mine action. This national policy will help implement strategies such as gender mainstreaming, promoting inclusion, environmental management, and other economic and social development issues, or in other words, yeah, to support and enhance SDGs. In addition to enhancing coordination and implementation among the relevant ministry and agencies, which, as we are aware, yeah, this is often times is quite a challenge. Yeah? Furthermore, the policy will complement the Cambodian government initiatives in the 17 SDGs and the localized SDG 18. Yeah, so Cambodia globally known, yeah, for this initiative to localize this mine action related initiative into their SDG 18. As an intergovernmental platform, of course, we support in promoting dialogue with international and regional organizations and national entities to strengthen SDGs, sustainable cooperation at regional level, including in this particular important topic of mine action. As many as 21 countries in Asia are contaminated by mines, with Afghanistan, Cambodia being massively contaminated, while heavy contamination exists in Thailand and Turkey, just to name a few, of the examples. Such extreme conditions threaten community social and economic prospect by adding complexities to existing dire conditions, further compromising their resilience. As countries progress in clearing mines and unexploded ordnance, support must continue to be given to synergize government works in mine action and develop strategies that link SDG targets in their national and regional priorities. Of course, this will require better knowledge sharing, collaboration with and among stakeholders in government and partners alike, especially in this particular topic. And ASEAN, for its part, has underscored the need for promoting regional cooperation in mine actions through collective partnership platform to enhance cooperation among ASEAN community and beyond. This will drive national and international attention to the mine action, help to chart out more coherent approaches among stakeholders, and to share knowledge and best practices with interested countries. So today we have assembled representatives from government, UN colleagues with extensive experience in mine action who will share insight on the wide-ranging social and economic impacts of mine action, as well as challenges, of course, in the context of sustainable development and SDGs. And hopefully the takeaway from this session is to highlight the priorities of governments that will better align mine action policies to the broader SDG framework, integrate them into national plans, as well as foster international collaboration. Yes, such as the example that has been exemplified by ASEAN Cooperation Mechanism. That this is a very good example that we hope we could replicate also to the other contexts, especially the other sub-regional cooperation. So I look forward to the discussion and the deliberation in this very important session. And of course, we stand ready to continue to support the work as well as all the necessary support in realizing SDGs, in not only in Cambodia, but in all countries concerned. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Executive Secretary. May I now invite His Excellency Dr. Kao Kim Hoorn, Secretary General of ASEAN, to deliver the key remarks. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Your Excellency Amida Sacha Rizabana, Under Secretary General of the United Nations and Executive Secretary of the UN ESCAP, Your Excellency Litoch, Senior Minister, President of the Cambodian National Committee for ESCAP, and First Vice President of the Cambodian Mine Action and Victim Assistance. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to join you virtually for the side event of the 79th session of ESCAP on the mining for sustainable development. Given the nexus between security and development on the one hand and mine action on the other, this side event is highly relevant in the context of promoting complementarities between the ASEAN Community Vision 2025 and the 2030 UN Sustainable Development Goals. I commend the organizer for convening this timely event, particularly as 6 out of 10 ASEAN member states are mine-affected countries. Indeed, although much progress has been made in land release and reducing the number of casualties among the affected communities in ASEAN, the presence of landmines and other explosive remnants of war, or W, continues to undermine the region's socio-economic development owing to the extent of contamination, particularly in Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos PDR, and Vietnam. In fact, in Cambodia alone, landmine and ERW have taken lives and injured some 65,008 people since 1979. Budgetary constraint, limited manpower, lack of enabling technology and survey, demarcation issues, as well as the COVID-19 pandemic are some of the pressing challenges that have hindered mine-affected ASEAN member states in achieving the respective clearing targets. As a result, the livelihood and overall safety and well-being and welfare, as well as resilience of risk groups, remain disproportionately impacted. Such groups include poor rural communities, ethnic minorities, smallholder farmers, persons with disabilities, refugees and internally displaced persons, as well as rural women and children who are forced to live and work in areas that are heavily exposed to mines. With limited access and ability to maximize land resources, the affected communities and individuals have little choice but to put their lives on the line to carry out activities in those dangerous areas. In turn, mines and explosive remnants of war can entrench and perpetuate the cycle of poverty, undermining our efforts to achieve inclusive and sustainable development in ASEAN. It is therefore important to step up our efforts to raise awareness on the one hand and invest more resources to accelerate mine clearance on the other. At the same time, we must continue providing meaningful support, including health and social protection for the victims as well as their families. In this regard, comprehensive and disaggregated data are crucial in order to know how affected communities are impacted and the assistance that should be prioritized. Among others, this means we need to strengthen the availability and analysis of gender disaggregated data in order to ensure that our programs correspond to the needs and concerns of women. Furthermore, we must enhance community and stakeholder participation in the decision-making process, in line with ASEAN's endeavor to promote people-centered approach to development. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, recognizing the gravity of the situation and acknowledging the need to go beyond mine clearing, the ASEAN leaders during the 21st ASEAN Summit in Phnom Penh in 2012 agreed to establish the ASEAN Regional Mine Action Center, AMAC, in line with the priorities of the ASEAN Political Security Community, APSC, specifically in supporting post-conflict peace-building efforts. The center, which began its operations in 2016, works to enhance awareness on the dangers of the explosive remnant of war, facilitate appropriate medical and rehabilitation assistance for victims, and facilitate knowledge sharing on the impacts of the explosive remnant of war and efforts to address them. Regionally, AMAC has thus far enhanced regional collaboration on explosive ordnance risk education, quality management, gender equality, and victim assistance, among others. Internationally, AMAC also partners with the UN Mine Action Service, as well as various government and non-government organizations from the different sectors. This collaboration allows ASEAN to take a more comprehensive and people-centered approach to addressing the multidimensional challenges and exploited ordnance at present. While AMAC works with and for the victims, the ASEAN defense sector works with the deminers. The ASEAN Defense Ministers Meeting Plus Expert Working Group on Humanitarian Assistance on Humanitarian Mine Action aims at building the capacity of military personnel in charge of mine clearance. The Expert Working Group enables military deminers to keep abreast of the latest development in explosive remnant war handling, particularly regarding suitable methodologies and technologies. Equally important, the Expert Working Group also promotes greater contribution of demining to the UN peacekeeping operations. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, both ASEAN and the United Nations have a common mission in demining, as reflected in the plan of action to implement the Joint Declaration on Comprehensive Partnership between ASEAN and the United Nations, 2021-2025. The current rate of mine clearance in ASEAN provides the impetus for closer cooperation in this area on the basis of leaving no one behind, in pushing forward for more synergy between mine action and sustainable development. As we move towards a more inclusive ASEAN community, we remain committed to ensuring that the peoples of ASEAN in both urban and rural areas parts of the region have equal access to development. Indeed, the second ASEAN Ministerial Dialogue on Accelerating Actions to Achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, which was convened on March 31st, 2023, underlined the need to empower the vulnerable groups, including the local communities. Moving forward, strengthen partnership is crucial for this endeavor. On this note, allow me to invite our partners, including UN ESCAP, to work closely with ASEAN in assisting our community and accelerating our mine clearance efforts. I believe there remains ample opportunities for cooperation in the area of mine action, including the transport technology, sharing of expertise, and capacity building. In closing, I'm pleased to note that there are more and more peacekeepers, including women, involved in the peacekeeping operations at the United Nations, which I believe would play a significant role in the peacekeeping process. During the transfer of office of the Secretary General of ASEAN on January 9, 2023, I have outlined 6 priorities, and one of the P's is peace. In any kind of circumstances, we cannot afford to take peace for granted. Only with peace in place that we have people, planet, partnership, prosperity, and potentials. Last but not least, I wish this side event a great success, and I look forward to its outcomes in furtherance of the sustainable development and inclusive, caring, sharing, and resilient ASEAN community. I thank you, Excellency.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. May I now invite His Excellency Mr. Litush, Senior Minister and First Vice President of the Cambodian Mine Action and Victim Assistance Authority to deliver his presentation.
Thank
You
you,
have the floor, sir.
Your Excellency, Dr. Ahmadi, Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations and Executive Secretary of ESCAP, my good friend Dr. Kakampun, Secretary General of the ASEAN, honorable delegates, esteemed panelists, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Prime South Kingdom Cambodia and the Cambodian delegation, I'd like to extend a wholehearted welcome to all of you. And thank you very much indeed for coming to today's side event on mine action for sustainable development. I would also like to take this opportunity to express my sincere appreciation and gratitude for Your Excellency Dr. Amida's unwavering cooperation and support for Cambodia, and my heartfelt congratulations to you for your leadership and ESCAP role in hosting these important commission sessions. My special thanks to Dr. Ronnie and your team for your effortful commitment in helping us to develop our national policy on mine action. It is also my privilege to express my warm congratulations to my countryman, Dr. Kakampun, on your appointment as Secretary General of ASEAN and to convey to you my best wishes for your personal good health and great success in the fulfillment of your tasks ahead. I deeply appreciate your valuable participation and contribution to this side event. Excellencies, honorable delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we come together here to address the critical issues of landmines and explosive remnants of war. Understanding the profound socio-economic impact they have had on our nation and the urgency to take action. Regional, namely Vietnam War, and prolonged internal armed conflicts in Cambodia from the early 1960s until late 1998 rendered Cambodia as one of the countries most heavily contaminated by landmines and explosive remnants of war. A landmine survey 1 conducted indicated that over 6,416 villages, representing around 46% of villages in Cambodia, have been affected by landmines and explosive remnants of war. The socio-economic ramifications has been profound, hindering our development and posing significant obstacles to achieving the sustainable development goals. Yes, like in these few pictures, since 1979, these explosive ordnances has killed and injured over 65,000 people in Cambodia. The victims and their families and communities need assistance to be reintegrated socially and financially. The challenges posed by landmines extend far beyond the physical injuries they inflict. They undermine our social fabric, affecting vulnerable groups such as women and girls disproportionately. Recognizing the urgent need and the gravity of my action to address these challenges, the government of Cambodia has taken a comprehensive and multifaceted approach. We understand that addressing the socio-economic impacts of landmines is essential for inclusive and sustainable development. To address gender disparities, we have mainstreamed gender perspectives into our Mind Action programs. We prioritize the needs and vulnerabilities of women and girls, ensuring that equal access to education, healthcare, and economic opportunities. I would like to take this opportunity also to pay tribute to our brave hero miners, without whom none of these achievements have been possible. We have over 5,000 miners on the ground, and 40% of them are female. Furthermore, we are acutely aware of the environmental consequences of landmines and the impacts on sustainable development. We have implemented seriously measures to mitigate the environmental impact of the mining activities, promoting eco-friendly practices, and incorporating environmental sustainability into our strategies. Our miners avoid, sometimes they took risks to clear landmines without cutting the trees or something like this, and sometimes we have casualties. Casualties when there some items hidden under a tree. We recognize that sustainable economic growth is essential for lifting communities out of poverty and promoting resilience. Through strategic investments in infrastructure and agricultural revitalization, we aim to unlock the potential of mine-affected areas. And by creating opportunities for employment, we break the cycle of poverty and dependency caused by landmines, supporting the socio-economic well-being of our people. Under the visionary leadership of Samdech Prime Minister, Cambodia has made impressive strides in mine clearance and addressing the socio-economic impact of landmines. The Prime Minister initiatives to achieve a mine-free Cambodia by 2025 demonstrates our government's unwavering commitment to the well-being of our people. This bold vision drives our effort to clear contaminated areas, support victims, and promote inclusive and sustainable development. The Prime Minister himself has raised funds to support the mine clearance through the team providing safe ground, creating smiles. And then later on, a few months ago, he set up a foundation for mine-free Cambodia, putting around 30 million US dollars to clear landmines in the country. Yes, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are proud of our progress that we have achieved thus far. Cambodia has cleared the largest contaminated land in the world, 2,579 square kilometers have been cleared permanently, providing safety to our people. 76% of the land cleared returned to agriculture sector. We have found 1 million over anti-personnel mines, anti-tank mines, 26 thousands of them. We call them silent killers. And USO over 3 millions. All these numbers, just how much they can kill people without clearance. All these achievements. In this respect, on behalf of the people of Cambodia, I would like to most sincerely thank all our development partners, our donors. Some of them are here, for contributing to these achievements. Despite the achievements, Madam Amida, we still have a lot of work to do. For mine clearance, we still have 563 square kilometers to finish to get Cambodia mine free by 2025. Beside that, we have a cluster munitions, about 729 square kilometers, and other ERW, around 593 square kilometers. But let us address first those silent killers. The most dangerous one are landmines, that we will address them. We will destroy them one by one till the last one. Ladies and gentlemen, each year our Prime Minister goes to New York to attend the UN General Assembly, and there he reiterates our commitment to clear landmines and to tell the world that how my action affects our people, and also how my action contributes to the sustainable development goals in Cambodia and around the world. My action contributes to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals by addressing the humanitarian, socio-economic, and environmental impacts of landmines and its persistent remnants of war. By clearing contaminated land, raising awareness about the dangers of landmines, and providing support to survivors, my action efforts contribute to the achievement of several SDGs. Here are some examples. SDG 1, no poverty. My action helps reduce poverty by clearing lands for productive use, such as agriculture. SDG 2, zero hunger. Landmine clearance enables the restoration of agricultural land, which can be used for crops and production. This helps increase food security and reduce hunger in affected communities. SDG 3, good health and well-being. By clearing landmines in the OWU, my action reduces the risk of accidents and injuries, promoting the health and well-being of the communities. This is just to mention a few SDGs that mine clearance support. In summary, my action in Cambodia and around the world plays a critical role in advancing the sustainable development goals by addressing the humanitarian, socio-economic, and environmental consequences of landmines and ERW. Yes, over the past 30 years, Cambodia has built strong experience and expertise on mine action. And we foster a global network of support and knowledge exchange, accelerating progress toward a mine-free world. Our commitment to South-South cooperation extends beyond borders. We have shared our experiences with over 20 countries in the world, including recently Ukraine. We trained them in Phnom Penh, in Cambodia, and we sent our experts to Poland to help train our Ukrainian friends. At the same time, Cambodia is actively participating in the UN peacekeeping missions. We have over 8,000 of our young men and women have been deployed since 2006. Right now, 800 of them are on duty. 600 of them are women. We want to such commitments and contributions stems from Cambodia's membership of the UN family, as well as Cambodia's empathy with other affected countries with similar historical conflicts and development challenges. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we reflect on our journey in my action, we have learned valuable lessons. The most profound of these is the undeniable importance of building and promoting peace, both in our region and the world. Landmines are the product of conflicts and wars, and their devastating impact perpetuates a cycle of violence and instabilities. By eliminating the set of landmines, we pave the way for peace, prosperity, and inclusive development. In conclusion, the challenges posed by landmines and explosive remnants of war require collective action and unwavering commitment. Cambodia stands firm in its determination to address the social and economic impacts of landmines, and we call upon our international partners, organizations, and all those present here today to join us in this crucial endeavor. Together, let us work toward a future where the threat of landmines no longer exists, where communities can thrive, and where peace and prosperity prevailed. With this note, I thank you once again for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. That concludes our opening session. We will now proceed with the panel discussion. May I invite all panelists to please proceed to the front, head to the head table. Thank you. This session will be moderated by Ms. Alisar Chakar, who is the resident representative from UNDP Cambodia. She also leads the mine action initiatives in Cambodia. So may I now hand the floor over to Ms. Alisar. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Your Excellencies. Good afternoon, the participants. I'm so glad to be with you today to discuss a topic that is of great importance. While the humanitarian aspect of mine action gets a lot of attention, the medium to long-term impacts, socioeconomic impacts of mine action are often forgotten. 21 countries in Asia Pacific are plagued by mine action, and the level of contamination and the progress on demining and clearing lands varies from one country to the other, depending on the geography, the constraints in finance, constraints in expertise, but also political constraints. The objective of this session is really to unpack the humanitarian development nexus of mine action and to get experience and perspective from different partners, UN, government, but also development partners, and to discuss the socioeconomic impacts and the way they delay the achievement of the SDGs in the plague countries. We have an esteemed panel, both in presence but also online, to discuss these important topics. We will start with His Excellency, the Vice Admiral, Mr. I hope I will pronounce the name correctly. If not, I'm very sorry. The Vice Admiral Nutapong Ketsumbong, and he is also the Deputy Director General of TMAC, the Thailand Mine Action Center. Your Excellency, Deputy Admiral, we would be very grateful if you can share your experience on the main challenges of you encountered in mine action sector on society and social and economical development, and how is the government of Thailand addressing these issues? Please, the floor is for you.
Well, thank you very much. Before I jump in there, your my place for respond your question. Good afternoon and Sawadee Krap Your Excellency, Mr. Lê Tut, and distinguished panelists, also participant, and ladies and gentlemen, very honored from the Royal Thai Armed Forces and also my Action Training Center to be here and then share about the experience and also operation in terms of my clearance during 23 years from 2000 up until now. And also I would like to thank from inviting us to join you today. So the PowerPoint slide will cover two things. The first, the overall in terms of the progress about the Thailand, the migrant situation right now. And also we'll cover a little bit about the challenge that we face too, and then lesson learned that we take away from 20 years more. Next slide, please. As you can see on this slide, we got 5 missions. And also in terms of the stockpile destruction, we already finished 2019. So we still work on the 4 missions from demining, mileage education, victim assistance, and also advocacy. And you can see down on the slide, this is all the partnership that put more effort and is supporting us during the operation. In terms of the RMAC that earlier mentioned this morning in this opening section, and also GICHD from Geneva International Center, Humanitarian Minings, and also support by interim representative from the US Indo-PACOM, and also Marine Force Pacific in this region. And also another one is Golden West Humanitarian office, and together with Thai associate, this one as well. And next slide, please. And you can see on the organization on your left-hand side in the white color is cover about the command and headquarters, and then they come together with their staff, a policy coordinator, and a special, and then an admin staff. In the middle, as you can see about the training, be a personal training or list education, and also dog training as well. On your right hand side in the yellow color, that's this mechanism to run by the migrants. And then also number 1, number 2, 3, 4, and then HPAL, the TMAC, they would be assigned by the remote area or area responsibility in terms of the contaminated area. Next slide, please. This one also demonstrate about the operation about the Thailand, and then you can see up to the title. We update from 30 April 2000 and can have the last month. So we will sign the Ottawa Treaty in 1997. If you approximately 2 years later or 3 years later, we start about a survey campaign during the whole country, and we take about 2,005 more than 2,500 square kilometers up to the yellow one, the whole country, but not in the middle of the heart of Thailand, in the vicinity of maybe in Myanmar, in neighboring country, Laos or Cambodia, and Malaysia as well, and the previous Mr. Lee Tut, well, thank from your guide. You showed the slide that about the internal conflict and then also regional conflicts. They're gonna take about 1960 up until 90. That's remaining from some part of the problem of this region in terms of the contaminated area, especially Thailand. So we have a lot of thousands of people get lost family, 1,000 of people in terms of casualty or injury. Also 300 plus the people who get will dead during the period of survey and operation. So you can feel that a lot of effort about the Thailand and the partnership that run about my and during that time. The next slide, please. From this one that highlight to show a little bit about how impact from the people and resort about in Thailand. And you can see about the save the blind and the property of the people in terms of a lot of people who get involved in remote area. They didn't have a chance to get involved in this in occupation like that. And also a lot of government resort about financial equipment and the personnel to get more effort to put the microlands operation. In terms of border, democratic process in the neighboring country also stuck in, cannot move on. And also we need to get more cooperation between a neighboring country as well. And also the Ottawa Treaty and Red One law that might be a good thing to get some the ministerial about the office or the partnership they should know the regulation. And then from the Ottawa Treaty, we have more report the annual year. We have on the process and or what going on from the next the plan. All right, thank you. Next one. And also the impact international development. And you can see on the slide, occupation, social, and culture, tolerance, economic, and commerce and investment. And also it is impact on the sector of the people who get involved in between the line of the border between neighboring country. And I think it's much more coordination with two government from Thailand and then Cambodia to get together. And then we believe that two are both Prime Minister General Prayut and also Prime Minister Hun Sen that get together from the ASEAN community and the last few months, and then they talk and then they agree upon to get about the operation between our near the border as well. And if we assume that we get more effort, I think it more about the sustainable development goal will enlist because a lot of people who get a job, a lot of social functional in the slide will get a start and then more about development in terms of a lot of tourism or core investment as well. And a lot of checkpoint between the near border and then come together from the tourists and also a lot of investment there in that particular area. Next slide, please. This one also demonstrate infrastructure, public utility, medical care, a checkpoint, anything that might be from the perspective, from the impact after we take the microland already. Next slide, please. This is the best practice in the Surin province. We call a Kaban Kabai field. This is best practice. We coordinate with our TMAC, and then also you can see the picture. They had a representative from the partnership. Some of them from the MAFOR PAC, and this US Indo-PACOM come together and then join with the NPA, Norway and People Aid, come together and get the plan. And you can see in the middle of the slide, we got the two machine to put about the two box and then take about the personal demining. And also the down on the slide, and you can see the machine about the machine to put the machine and then also put some dogs. And there's combination and integration about the man and then also machine and then also a dog as well. And you can see a lot of the area that had been released. I think it's 400,000 of the area from contaminated in this area will be released soon. And also as soon as we finish this project, we'll hand over on the people and then hand over from the forest affair or department to get about the learning center from the kid or the people who get involved in. They're gonna go to this training center to learn more how living in the forest. And also you can take some field in terms of the eco tourists as well. This is, I think, it more demonstrate during we release the land on the people or the department of the civilian people. They can go to the make some I think that about the program for the sustainable development goal, maybe list on or maybe a little bit objective that we pie to you. All right, thank you. Next slide. This from the challenging. Let me go to a little bit more in the challenging that we have third from the challenging because I talk about it 23 year more, and then we still have one more left about the contamination, especially in terms of the 5 or 6 provinces nearby the both sides of from Thailand and the Cambodia near border. And we need a little bit from challenge. The first one, I think it's the good thing to talking about the landmine density and also difficult terrain and also sensitivity about the area along the border. Two of the more visited challenge, difficult terrain. I think in difficult terrain, we can more explain about up to the hill in the morning and then go to the operation, very risky because it'll take time. 20 or 30 years, they can have about the weather condition. They can have bully up in the hill, up in the ground. That's not easy to get about the mine clearance. And also it talking about equipments, about the survey equipments as you get to have new technology to easily to get in maybe display how a dimension of the mine. That would be better to my clearance to put more effort in this one particular. And also I think it's very important in terms of the people with my clearance during that time they've got stressful. They work harder and then when they finish the job, they go back to accommodation. So we can come up with a new campaign. We go a week. We take some month, some weeks, some month, maybe weeks. We'll take nights, and then step by step, so they get more about the area in this particular, in terms of the density, and also some the terrain. And you can see the difficult terrain up to the hill, maybe the difficulty about the grasses, high grasses, all the forests as well. Maybe some of the mine maybe go in the root of the big tree and not easy to get the mine here as well. And also the time passed by 20 years more, maybe difficult from to find out about the mine. It is also very difficult to mine Kieran as well. You can see about the sensitivity at the mine area around the border, because some of the identified it is very, we still have the area that democratic charge. We don't know exactly this is it's Thailand or this is Cambodia. That is problem. we don't. You have to be aware from the people who get secure the border between Thailand and also Cambodia. We have to talk, and normally we have worked side by side between us. I think it more during in this time, it is good time to go to more corporate and then side by side together on our situation like this. Hope we can have corporate and then we can make some plan. And in the near future, maybe the 2024, 25, and 26, we get more easily to get about the Michael and between the situation. Next slide, please. Next one. Also, I think it's the governments normally they address throughout our armed forces, because it's the Thailand mine action, especially our armed forces. As you can see, I'm the Navy, and my team from Army and then also Air Force as well. We come together in joint operation, and then we get some address from our government. You get armed forces to go in, and then you get my current operation. So we have to need some more train and capability building. So maybe have some more experience to learn more the people for partnership, for the cooperation with international. They can upgrade the situation and they can have more knowledge in terms of the capability. Next one, please. Also, we need more, just like maybe a drone. You can see on the left-hand side, we got helicopter during the difficult terrain. We go in by the helicopter and then down to the training area. And that's good to cram up a few weeks. All right. A dogs, also some equipment or motorcycle, or the right-hand side is the my clearance survey. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Next one, please. It is also the cooperation. It is highlight to the partnership. I like to give them some credit. A lot of office or in the right hand side in the down, which is the new support from the machine that cut the grass, and then also some my care and easily get a lot of cleaning area. Oh, thank you. Next one. This also international support as well. I think it should be the last one. That's it. This also about the first project that we come together last 3 years that accomplished the first pilot project between Thailand and Cambodia come together and then have some plan. And then when we just finished it in the last 4 years. Unfortunately, the COVID situation flees us. And we come up again with this year and then more closely get some plan to do a second phase to launch this one. All right, thank you. Next one, please. This one I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Admiral, for this exhaustive and complete presentation. Thank you for also, highlighting the last mile clearance challenges, which are very important to recognize. They are more difficult, they will be more costly, and they will need a lot of partnership and cooperation between the two countries. And I'm happy that you mentioned the political will to resolve this issue as soon as possible. From the general impact on the development in Thailand, we would like now to zoom more on victim assistance, and how to sustain this work, leaving no one behind, even beyond the 2025 or the clearance of land. For this, I would like to welcome online Ms. Emma Pierce, who is Disability Inclusion Consultant for WHO. Welcome, Emma. I would like you to help us understand what you have highlighted in the last global report on health equity for people with disability, and how does it relate to mine action and victim assistance. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you for that kind introduction and for the opportunity to share with you all a little bit of the work that the World Health Organization is doing on disability inclusion. As we've already heard today, landmines and other explosive remnants of war have widespread economic, social, and environmental consequences, which hinder the development of affected communities and countries. Advancing health equity for persons with disabilities enables their participation in wider society and their contributions to sustainable development. I would like to talk a little bit today about health equity for persons with disabilities and how this intersects with mine action efforts. The first point that I wanted to share with you today is that disability inclusion is essential to ensuring that mine action efforts leave no one behind. An estimated 1.3 billion people globally, that's 1 in 6 people, have a significant disability. Persons with disabilities, which includes not only those with physical impairments, but also those with sensory, intellectual, and psychosocial impairments, face a range of attitudinal, environmental, and communication barriers which may hinder their access to and in participation in mine action. For example, information in mine risk education may not be in formats which persons with intellectual disabilities are able to understand. And assumptions about the skills and capacities of persons with disabilities by mine action staff and community leaders may mean that they are not invited to participate in community level activities. Exclusion from mine action activities will add to the risk of death and injury from explosive ordnance for many persons with disabilities. The second point that I wanted to make is that traumatic injuries due to landmines and explosive remnants of war may contribute to a higher prevalence of disability in conflict-affected communities, and we really need to plan for this in the health sector. Guidance on on assistance to landmine survivors already includes references to emergency care, continuing healthcare, rehabilitation, and also economic and social integration. However, we know that in many countries, persons with disabilities continue to face health inequities. They may die up to 20 years earlier than those without disabilities. Many experience poorer health due to conditions such as diabetes, stroke, and depression, and they have limitations in functioning due to things such as inaccessible health facilities. These health inequities are due to unfair conditions such as poverty, stigma, discrimination, and barriers in accessing the health system, which disproportionately affects persons with disabilities. That brings me to my third point that I wanted to make today, which is about how health system strengthening is critical to addressing the health inequities faced by persons with disabilities, including those that may be survivors of landmines and explosive ordinances. In 2021, a landmark resolution was adopted by the World Health Assembly on the highest attainable standard of health for persons with disabilities. This resolution recognises that persons with disabilities are disproportionately affected in situations of armed conflict and calls for their protection and safety in humanitarian emergencies. The resolution also requested WHO to develop a global report to provide guidance to member states on how to advance health equity for persons with disabilities. The WHO Global Report on Health Equity for Persons with Disabilities was actually launched in December last year. It outlines 40 recommended actions across 10 strategic entry points in the health sector, which governments can take depending on their resource level and context. And the diagram that you can see on the screen right now shows those 10 entry points across the health system. These entry points are adapted from the primary healthcare approach and are aligned with the health system's building blocks. Some recommendations in the report include engaging disability communities, such as organisations of persons with disabilities and other stakeholders in decision-making when in the health system. Also improving the accessibility of physical infrastructure and digital technologies, which are now used quite widely in healthcare in many countries. And lastly, integrating indicators on disability inclusion into health systems monitoring and evaluation frameworks. We actually provide some examples of these indicators in the report. Investing in disability inclusive health system strengthening has the potential to benefit not only individual survivors of landmines, but also wider conflict affected communities. Moving forward, WHO will be developing and implementing a health policy and systems research agenda relating to disability inclusion. We are also developing a planning tool called the Disability Guide for Action, which will support ministries of health to systematically address the contributing factors to health inequities for persons with disabilities. Both of these initiatives require multi-stakeholder and multi-sectoral action, so we would really welcome collaborations with the mine action sector in countries where you are all working. In closing, I just wanted to share 3 principles which we outline in the report, which are relevant for all countries and perhaps also relevant for many of your mine action efforts. The first principle is to consider health equity for persons with disabilities at the centre of any action that we're taking. The second one is to ensure empowerment and meaningful participation of persons with disabilities and their representative organisations when implementing any actions. And the last one is to monitor and evaluate the extent to which your actions, our actions, contribute to health equity for persons with disabilities. Thank you for your time, and please feel free to contact us at WHO if you would like to learn more about this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma, for shedding the light on the medical aspects, and long-term, medium to long-term medical aspect for mine action and the importance of integrating into the health equity and health planning. We tend to talk about victims as if they were a monolithic group. We talk collectively about victims. However, mine action and the scourge of mine action affects women, children, men differently. For this, I would like to move on to the next panelist, Ms. Deborah Comini, Director of UNICEF Regional Office for Asia Pacific. Deborah, unfortunately, is on mission, so she will be connecting online to really discuss the impact on children. While UNICEF is not active in the actual clearance and stock destruction, they can have a great value added on victim assistance, risk education, and advocacy, particularly for the very specific target group of children. So the next video will address the impact of mines and other explosive remnants of war on children's rights and the achievement of related SDGs. Deborah, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, Excellencies, distinguished delegates and partners. It is an honor for me to be here today and share some UNICEF reflections on mine action, its impact on child rights, and the links to the 2030 Agenda and the SDG. Last month, in his annual message for the occasion of the UN International Day for Mine Awareness and Assistance in Mine Action, Secretary General Antonio Guterres reminded us that for the millions living amid the chaos of armed conflict, especially women and children, every step can put them in dangerous path. But then peace brings no assurance of safety when roads and fields are mined, when unexploded ordnance threaten the return of displaced population, and when children find and play with shiny objects that explode. In fact, globally, children account for half of civilian casualties from explosive ordnance. Children killed or maimed by explosive ordnance were recorded in 33 states, including 7 in the ESCAP region: Afghanistan, Cambodia, India, Iran, Laos PDR, Myanmar, and Pakistan. Children have rights to life, to education, to health, to water, to food at all times. The use of landmines and other indiscriminate weapons directly affects children's ability to access their rights. And this brings me to my first point. When UNICEF is engaged in a mine-affected country, the #1 goal is to preserve human life, to save lives and limbs. Together with governments and other partners, we advocate for the implementation of the mine action pillars: demining, risk education, victim assistance, and advocacy, so we can reach 0 casualties. If we embrace a public health approach where the prevention of injury and the monitoring and decrease of accidents are at the heart of mine action, where the focus is first on people, we directly contribute to SDG target 16.1 to significantly reduce all forms of violence and related death rates everywhere. My second point is about universal prevention. It is about reminding ourselves that every child exposed to the presence of explosive ordnance has the right to receive risk education. Stronger explosive ordnance risk education campaigns will contribute to behavior change and community resilience and save more lives and more limbs, especially in places suffering from random and massive contamination, such as Afghanistan and Myanmar. When this is done through the education system, the integration of risk education into national curriculums contribute also to another SDG, SDG 4, to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education. Third, we need to invest more on victim assistance to survivors and their communities, especially child-focused survivor assistance remains weak and is the most underfunded pillar. Victim assistance is part of the prevention continuum. It reduces the impact of injury occurred and supports people to return to their original health and function to prevent long-term problems. Let us note here that victim assistance contribute to SDG 16 on peace and justice, and also to SDG 3 on health and well-being. To leave no one behind, we need to strive for a world where every child, every community is protected, where their access to school, to health, to safe water and sanitation is not threatened by contamination with any kind of weapons. And we need to invest in children and youth, including survivors, as true agents of change. Thank you for lending your hands to this important task.
Last but not least, after this video, I would like to turn to Mr. Shane McKenna, representing the Australian Embassy. He is the first secretary program at the embassy in Thailand. And I would like to turn to partnership. There is a recognition that partnership is key for addressing the scourge of mine action and explosive remnant of wars. My question is that, when you decide about development partnerships, how do you balance between the humanitarian and development nexus of mine action? And how do you weigh in your decision whether humanitarian, peace and security factors outweigh development and SDG considerations? Is this true? How do you manage these partnerships, particularly that the decision today will have a long-lasting effect for tomorrow and way longer? Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much for that introduction, and in fact for inviting Australia to participate in the event today. Your Excellencies, I'm actually honoured to share the stage with such esteemed colleagues, and I've learned a great deal from the presentations that have preceded me here, which thank you very much. Before proceeding, please allow me to provide apologies for my colleague, Dr. Gemma Edgar, who was meant to be representing us here today, but has been called away on some urgent business. I understand time is limited, so I'm going to narrow my focus on the Australia's past, current and future interventions working in Cambodia, where we've had quite a deal of experience over a considerable period of time. Can I just start by saying that Australian government maintains a steadfast commitment to mine action. We support the implementation of all the relevant international agreements, including and not limited to the Convention on Cluster Munitions, the Anti-Personnel Ban Treaty, the Protocol 5 on Convention of Certain Conventional Weapons. Since 1994, we have contributed more than $100 million to mine action programs in Cambodia. Australia recognises the critical importance of partnerships to sustainable success of demining efforts, including partnerships with and between civil society, particularly those impacted by the scourge of mines, the various national and regional governments, the UN systems and other multilaterals, and of course other donors. The Cambodian context has been extremely well set out in the introduction to today's side event and by other panel members. So I won't add further to this, but I would say that Australia is a long-term and committed partner to Cambodia's effort to demine. We have been privileged to play a role through the peace-building processes in the 1980s and the early 1990s, including through leadership roles in the United Nations Transition Authority in Cambodia. We've followed this up with continued and quite significant humanitarian support, including for mine action. Over time, this has included supporting the operations of the Cambodian Mine Action Centre, which is the national mine clearance operator, supporting the operations of international mine clearance operations for organisations such as Mine Advisory Group and the Halo Trust, supporting mine clearance and mine risk education through UNICEF and Australian and other NGOs, including AusCare, NCAA and World Vision, providing rehabilitation centres and victim assistance through the International Committee of Red Cross, Australian Red Cross and local Cambodian NGOs. We're also very pleased that we are able to provide experts through the Australian International Volunteer Program to help build the capacity of mine action planning and information management for the Cambodian Mine Action and Victim Assistance Authority. Recognizing that mine action efforts needed to be better coordinated between donor and aligned with Cambodia's own national and provincial development plans, from 2005, Australia played a role in advocating for the multi-donor funding mechanism that is now managed by the UNDP. This funding mechanism supports the Clearing for Results project, which the Cambodian Mine Action and Victim Assistance Authority as the project implementer. The model supports local ownership and participatory decision-making in planning processes to enhance effectiveness. Australia is committed to Clearing Results project, and our commitment has been substantial, with over $29 million spent so far. Our commitment is backed by two core considerations. First, it's a significant part of our commitment to supporting the Anti-Personnel Mine Ban Convention. And second, the tangible results which were shown in our introductory presentation have been very, very positive. This project has cleared over 322 square kilometres of land and released that back to productive use in Cambodia. This in turn has positively affected the lives of more than 1 million people residing in these provinces. I also just want to pause and reflect on a comment made in the introduction. Mine action partnerships implemented across Cambodia have resulted in Cambodia becoming a leader in mine and unexploded ordnance clearance. As outlined by Senior Minister Lee Tuk in the introduction, since 2006, Cambodia has deployed more than 8,000 troops in UN peacekeeping missions to undertake activities, including mine clearance, helping improve safety of communities across the globe. Australia continues to support Clearing for Results project, now in its 4th phase and running until December 2025. I'd like to just pause and thank our fellow donors and partners in this effort, Korea, New Zealand, and the UNDP, and invite others to participate in this very important project. The current phase continues to focus on demining activities in the provinces most affected by landmines and explosive remnants of war. It has also enhanced Cambodian Mine Action and Victim Assistance Authority's ability to independently coordinate, regulate, and lead the implementation of the project. This increased independence has enabled CMAA to effectively oversee mine action activities and play a key role in the development of national mine action policies. In concluding, can I again acknowledge our various partners, the Cambodian government, represented here today by His Excellency Lee Tuk. Australia recognises the importance of collaboration and coordination with the Cambodian government, particularly through the Cambodian Mine Action and Victim Assistance Authority, as the only means of achieving long-lasting and sustainable impacts. And with other donors, including NGO and civil society groups, who help make Cambodia a safer place. Australia will continue working closely with the government of Cambodia into the future, with CMAA and other stakeholders to promote the efficient coordination and cooperation in mine action activities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shane, and thank you for acknowledging our donors. I was not allowed to do it as a facilitator. They have really, this partnership over the years have resulted into releasing the results, more than 15% of the whole sector results since 2006. We started in 1990, but we did not have the statistics, but 15% of all sector results since 2006. This is a big achievement, and I hope that we can see the last of mine and exploded ordnance of war in Cambodia. Without any further ado, the discussion and the presentations were very rich. I will not pretend that I will summarize, but I will just share a few messages, take-home messages for further, for further thinking. Mine action, there is, a consensus that mine action should be aligned to broader national planning and SDG frameworks for sustainability and for long-term impact. Mine action victims should be included in health equity for their wider participation in society and long-term dignity. Investment and disability inclusion in health systems that are sensitive to disability. Also, you know, the importance of prevention was highlighted as very important, particularly in risk education in school, inclusion in school curricula, child-focused survival assistance, which is often less prioritized and often less funded. Finally, there is a need to foster and strengthen international but also regional collaboration through, for example, the Asian Cooperation Mechanism, other international convention mechanism, and the US system in order to see the end of this plague that is affecting the society in 21 countries in Asia Pacific. With all of these, I hope I did you know, good work in summarizing the key messages. But anyway, you know, I believe that the presentations and the video will be circulated for further studying and evaluation. With this, Excellency Lituch, over to you for the closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Lisa, for your moderation, for moderating this side event indeed to have flown over from Cambodia to lead this session. Thank you very much indeed. Let me, before we conclude, let me say a few words on our, on what our panelists has said, just said. First, with regard to our friends from Thailand, our neighbors, our family, yeah. So to inform the meetings that both parameters share the same vision of peace and stability and development. They both want this borderline zone to be set for our people. A casualty, an accident happened, a life loss from either side, from Cambodia side or Thai side is unacceptable. It's a big loss to all of us. So Cambodia continue to be supportive of Thailand to be mine-free by 2026. And we will offer our cooperation wherever possible, I used to say between Thailand and Cambodia, they're like mouth and teeth, so we cannot be separated. We are family, so we will support each other. So again, a few information that I'd like to share with you. Cambodia will host the global conference on victim assistance in October. So I think UNICEF and the WHO and so on will be invited to attend, and this global conference will be supported by the EU. And Cambodia will also host in 2024 the peace review conference of the Ottawa Convention, sometimes in early December next year. Yes, I think thank you very much indeed for your kind comments from Australia. We are grateful to Australia over the year for support. They have many friendly countries who've been supporting us over the years. I could not mention all of them, but of course, we are grateful to all of them. So we have reached the conclusion that this event, and then I want to say how much we are grateful to all of you for attending this and sharing your experiences and innovative ideas and solutions and so on. Thank you very much indeed. During our discussion, we have underscored the socio-economic impact of landmines and explosive remnants of war. We have recognized the tremendous efforts made by our respective governments and with the support from our donors, to address these challenges head on, yes. And again, we are proud of our progress. Thailand and Cambodia, we are proud of our progress we have made in mine clearance, victim assistance, and supporting the livelihoods of our affected community. So we do not want to leave anyone behind. In our respective countries. Furthermore, we continue to contribute to the rest of the world through mine actions, for mine clearance. So we continue to our government continue to support to deploy our men and women to the rest of the world in Africa and in the Middle East. Lebanon also, your lovely country, Lisa, to support those communities in need of security and safety also. By working together, we strengthen our collective impact and contribute to a safer and more peaceful world. And of course, we conclude this event. Let us carry forward the spirit of collaboration, determination, and innovation that has defined our discussions. We will, of course, redouble our efforts to integrate mind action as recommend, as said by Lisa, climate action and sustainable development into our national agendas, share to our dear to our heart. In closing, let us remember the valuable lessons we have learned during this event. Once again, I'd like to repeat that we must continue to build and promote peace in our region and the world. Cambodia has experienced the war so long. We have lost so much. It's so much peace, so important. We must remain committed to the principle of inclusivity, sustainability, and resilience. And above all, we must act with agency and determination to ensure a brighter future for generations to come and to come. Thank you again indeed for your dedication and commitment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes our side event for this afternoon.